Thank you for listening to Pow Block Podcast, the flagship Nintendo podcast of Boss Rush Network. Do you need even more gaming and entertainment in your life? Head over to bossrush.net where you can find news, reviews, creators, podcasts, and more focused around the content you enjoy.
Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Pow Block here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host, the enlightened and excited Eddie V. Joining me is the gallivanting Gallatrat himself, Mr. Jacob Taylor.
Hey everybody, I forgot to write my joke for today. I just realized that.
Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick.
I'm very excited for 1, 2, 3, 4 of the topics we're talking about tonight. Very excited. Very excited. Super excited.
Everybody. I stare at Bossman himself while I'm not trying to laugh. Our special guest, he's part of the Boss Rush writing team. You guys seen him. You guys know him. You know him. He's just amazing. The person that I love talking snacks with. It's the geek guru himself, the geek bro, Mr. Jack. Mr. Jack Brough.
Hey, how is everybody? Happy to be here.
Hello, welcome back. How are you?
Doing good. Everybody else doing well?
Great.
All right.
Yes.
Very great.
Awesome.
How was everybody's weekend, Jacob?
My weekend was fine. There wasn't a whole lot. I played a lot of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and then I started an official Otter Kingdom Minecraft server.
Ooh,
so that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, other than that, not too much.
All right. Jack, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was quiet, which is a good thing. I have a vacation coming up, so it was definitely nice. You know, I'm sure it's going to be filled with tons of activity with the kids and everything like that, so it was good to have a quiet weekend.
Nice. Corey, how was your weekend?
My weekend was light, which was nice, but also it's kind of hot, but it's okay. It's okay. And now my kid is screaming for me, so that's cool too. But yeah, I mean, we just did some stuff, hung out with the kids, did some fun things. So yeah.
And for me, this past Friday, I went to Six Flags Great America. Got to go on some roller coasters.
Oh, nice.
My nephew, he turned 14, so he got on some of the roller coasters with us. Not all of them and everything, but me and my sister was a fool, and I almost lost my voice just screaming just getting hyped and saying, "Let's go, yeah!" And I know all the other people were just like, "Okay, we're going to get hyped because he's hyped." My sister didn't ride, so this is a roller coaster called the Goliath, and my sister never rode it or anything, and her head is just tilt back, and her hair is kind of long, so it looked like she was getting her hair shampooed from the hair salon. We hit that drop, and she did not suspect that. She screamed. She just like, "What is this? What is wrong with this roller coaster?" And I'm just like, "Yeah!" Like, I'm throwing up peace signs, throwing my hands up, was upside down, and all you heard was this black "yes" go across. And we got off the roller coaster. We started walking, and there's a picture of me and her on my Facebook page, and she's just like, when you ride the roller coaster, her hair looked messed up, like straight jacked, and then I was just like, I gotta take a picture with her. But yeah, we had a good time at Six Flags. I was so happy to go there. Because of course, with it being closed last year, and I didn't get to go 2019. I was so happy to go, and of course, I cannot wait till I talk about my Snacktendo because I had some good food there. With that, but yeah, let's actually jump into Snacktendo. Jack, as our guest, it's been a long time since you've been on the show. What have you been snacking on?
So went to a farmer's market that's not too far away from my house, and we got, or I did, nobody else was daring enough. I got these, it was a homemade chipwich. So 2 6-inch soft-baked chocolate chunk cookies with Hershey's hand-dipped ice cream in between. And this thing, it was just, it was fantastic. Yeah, and it's a very dangerous thing that it's so close to my house because I'll be frequenting picking them up. They were so damn good.
What about you, Jacob? What have you been snacking on?
I don't really actually have anything to talk about for Snacktendo this week, unfortunately. Snack wise, I've been actually pretty good about it. I've been trying to go on more of a diet. I need to lose a lot of weight. But I did go. Thank you. I did go to breakfast with my family on Saturday, and I did have some chocolate chip pancakes that were really, really good.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, yeah, chocolate chip pancakes, some homemade grits or homemade restaurant-made grits, and hash browns and such. So it was good. It was a very delicious breakfast. I didn't eat again until like 6 o'clock at night, and I had breakfast at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So, and it looks like from the chat, it looks like Rebellity had some yummy sukiyaki. I don't know what sukiyaki is. Anybody know? Anybody know what sukiyaki is?
You got me.
I bet it's some sort of Japanese or Chinese dish that probably looks weird but tastes delicious.
It's a Japanese dish that is prepared and served nabemono style. It consists of meat, which is slowly cooked, vegetables, and other ingredients. Yum! That sounds delicious. It's a type of pho, apparently. Pho.
It's pho. It's pho.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Corey, what have you been snacking on?
Nothing really. Honestly, this segment kind of sucks. I'm sorry, everybody. I disappointed everybody. Just like Jacob, I didn't really.
I know.
I'm trying to lose weight too, although it's not going as I've planned it. But didn't really eat a lot of snacks this weekend. Although, I do have something to talk about actually. It's not like snack related, but my mom came over to see the kids on Saturday, and she brought us one of those big Bruegger's Bagels family size like boxes of food.
Yeah.
And it had like it had bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches in it, and then there was one there with ham, bacon, eggs, and cheese with like some sort of pepper cream cheese spread on it with melted Asiago on the bagel. My wife had that one, so because it's better. But man, were those good. Let me tell you, I'm a sucker for any type of breakfast sandwich. If you put it in front of me, it will be gone. So that's what I ate. That was my Snacktendo.
Well, that's cool. That's good. Well, since I said Friday, I went to Six Flags. I had a Oreo Sundae ice cream funnel cake, which they just gave me more ice cream and a little bit of whipped cream. Put a whole bunch of Oreos. I was just like, oh, y'all just hooked this whole thing up. And it was so good. I had a thing called a Thrill Burger that was just like double meat patties, cheese, barbecue sauce, bacon, lettuce, tomato, and whatever kind of hamburger bread they use. I ate that and could have fell asleep on any ride. Like, it was so good. That thing disappeared. I was just like, this is the best burger that I had in age. It was literally good. And then since one of my employees at work, it was his last day working with me, I bought him a family box from Taco Bell. So we ate some soft tacos and hard tacos, and it was pretty good. I just wanted to treat him out like for lunch, that he didn't have to worry about, and hopefully, when he comes back here, because he's going to school, that he comes visit and everything. He said he had fun with me as an employee, so that's pretty much what I've been snacking on. and some graham crackers, like the foot on honey graham crackers. Just been eating those and enjoying it, and just like, man, this is so good. Of course, my Twizzlers pudding pill, and I did get the Hershey Chip Ahoy ones, but I'm saving those. I did not eat them. Last but not least, I tasted the Cheetos Mexican Corn Crunch chips, and they are the bomb. They are so good. They literally taste like Mexican corn. Nice, spicy, got some good cheese to it. It really tastes like corn. I mixed the whole bag. It was so good.
Let me tell you about Latin street corn. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Latin street corn is amazing, and I've been so side tangent for Nintendo. Sorry, David, you're not here to stop me. Okay, so we're going on a tangent. We're gonna go on a detour, they say. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Do you guys ever feel homesick for a place that's not home?
No.
Like a vacation spot or anything like that?
I do, yeah.
No, that sounds foreign to me.
For food, though.
Okay,
Yes.
well, here's the thing. Everybody who's been listening to us for a while knows that I'm a huge fan of Disney World, right? And like, I'm feeling kind of that urge to just like go, but we can't just go anymore because we have kids, and it's a whole thing. Anyways, the Food and Wine Festival is going on at Epcot, and Mexico now has Latin street corn at their pavilion, and they keep showing pictures of it on Instagram and on Disney Food Blog and all these other YouTube channels that I watch that are irrelevant to this podcast. It's just, it looks so good. And I just want some Latin street corn.
I will send you all the pictures, Corey. I'll send you all the pictures and reviews.
You know what? It's you, okay? It's Josh is going in like 6 weeks, okay? There's enough people going in my life within the next 2 months.
I think Josh and I are going at the same time.
Yeah.
If he's going in 6 weeks, oh my God, Boss Rush meetup.
You have to eat an Earl sandwich.
Nice.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Earl sandwich.
Right.
And then you have to tweet out and tag me and Josh in it what you ate and how great it was.
What about me?
Are you going to Disney World and eating an Earl sandwich?
I'm going next year.
Well, that's not in 6 weeks. So
You don't have to tag me in food. It's Snacktendo.
He is the Snacktendo god.
I know, but on Tower Casuals we have sandwich casuals, okay, where we sometimes like once a month talk about how good Earl sandwich is.
Hold on though. Let's rewind like 5 minutes real quick on another detour. Ed, did you say a foot-long graham cracker?
No,
What's
honey
full?
graham.
Yeah.
Not foot-long graham cracker. I wish there was a foot-long graham cracker.
No, who
You were
eats
like-
graham crackers? Nobody eats graham crackers, okay?
I do.
No,
Graham
They're so
crackers are
good.
delicious. They are so good.
my kid eats graham crackers because she thinks they're cookies. That's what graham crackers are sold as, okay?
All I
The faux cookie.
Yeah, most of our graham crackers sell out because people making s'mores. But I'm just like, it's been a long time since I just bought a box of honey grams, and just ate it. It just like really went in, and I bit into it, and I'm just like, I feel like a kid again. And speaking of your question, Corey, I'm like, I kind of miss like when I go to I miss going to South Bend because Evil Check is this kind of breakfast place, and their food is amazing. And every time I want to go to South Bend just to go there and come back home. Of course, go see my friends and stuff. But it feels like every time I go there, I feel like I'm at home. And Kentucky also, Radcliffe, Kentucky. Cause
hanging out with Block down there with.
I gotta find out where he stays at. I don't know where Block
stays at. I think he lives there, Ed. I think he just lives there. I don't think he stays anywhere.
No, like where what city and stuff. I don't know what city he stays in.
Well, anyways,
I just like since we're talking about Snacktendo and traveling across the globe here, I like how two of the members here didn't bring anything, but Ed brought enough for the whole party.
And the members that are missing right now also.
Yes, exactly.
Pow Block,
you know,
Pow Block had written that normal.
yeah, picking up everybody's slack.
Yep.
Wait till I go on vacation next month.
Oh God.
The thing is
Yes.
like the thing is like I don't even go to Disney for the rides anymore. It's all about the food now. I just go and walk around and eat, and then I'll sit there and eat like a foot-long chili dog and go watch the Indiana Jones show 3 times because
you
it's
fool.
fun.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Once
if anybody hears my garage door during this show, like right now, I'm sorry. Some new neighbors just moved in next door, and we share a garage, and it just they're moving in, and it just constantly goes up and down. It's a hot mess of a day. I'm sorry, everybody. It's my fault. It's my fault.
That was a good Snacktendo.
It was a great Snacktendo.
Yes, I still have my oatmeal cream pie cereal to eat, so be ready for that one. Why you look like you was in disgust, Corey?
Just continue. I don't have enough. There's not enough airtime for me to tell you how gross oatmeal cream pie cereal sounds. Oatmeal cream pies are gross.
You don't like the little baby?
Just get us out of here, please. Somebody help.
Okay. Well, Corey, since it's your turn for Game Fact Events, let's jump into this Game Fact Events. Take it away, Corey.
Me? No, I did news.
I put it on notes that you had Game Fact Events. Well, okay, so everybody, for the special section, we want to do Game Fact Events. I kind of want to ask you guys, games like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, or I should say games with password codes in it. What did you think about them? Did you ever play them or did you ever write them down and just hate the fact that you had to enter it? Like, what are your thoughts about retro games that use the password code? Jack, I'm gonna start with you.
Well, yeah, I think Mega Man did it the best. With the grid format with the blue and the red dots, that was the best way to do it. Because then when you get into Metroid's a prime example of
I see what you did
a
there.
long strand, and it's just there's too many characters. You mess up one little thing, and then you wrote it down wrong, and you're sifting through all of your scrap papers of what you did and growing up, and then you're fighting with your siblings over whose passwords are what. It was a good way to make up for those long games that didn't have the battery pack. But yeah, I'm glad that technology has evolved significantly since then.
That end kid Icarus. Ooh, that was a long one. What about you, Jacob?
I'm too young to have played games in their time with that, but I'm not too young that I had a phone to snap a picture or a camera. So I do remember playing games with them, but I'm also just too lazy. I was just like, I'll just beat it again. it's fine. I'll just get back to where I was.
What about you, Corey?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Ed. I never really played a game with a password system.
Really?
Ninja Turtles didn't have passwords, Ed. Okay, so it just
you had to beat that in one go.
You die, you start over. Okay, that's where we're at. That's
what did you guys think?
Passwords are dumb unless you're using Game Genie, then it's cool.
Oh wow!
I remember those passwords.
Oh man, that floating hand.
Playing Aladdin with infinite apples. It was a good time.
What did you guys think of people like with Nintendo Online that had games that does have a password on it? Did you think people would be shocked? Even though it has the same kind of function.
No, they won't. They won't ever use that because they have save states. Like even the Mega Man collection just is like, oh well, I'll just pause and save it here, and then we'll start back up later.
The only reason the password save state thing would be used is if a game was like going for that retro feel. Mm-hmm. That would be it.
I mean, do you think people would look at it and be like, wow, you guys used to save your games this way? Because I think there's some new gamers who don't know anything about that.
No, I don't think so. I think they'd probably just think it was an annoying frustration of the game they were currently playing. I don't think they'd relate it back to like how old games were.
Right, because Zombie ate my neighbors when you put in a password, you started from like scratch. You didn't carry over any weapons or any
So what was
points.
the point of the password?
Just
Yeah.
to get to that level. Literally just to get to that level.
But then you don't have any.
You don't. I mean, yeah, you're all
It's not even
out.
worth it.
Yeah, so if you really want to like get to where you was at, you literally have to start it from the first level and go and do all that stuff all over again. Unless you waited till EGM came out or GamePro and then got the password for the final level and just went like that. So, well, everybody, that is our, I guess, game fact player. I don't know.
I just want to say that I'm offended that you did not even message me, Ed. We talk all the time, and you didn't think to slip it in there and just say, "Hey, by the way, you have Game Fact Advance." Dude, you know I don't look at the show notes until it's showtime, and even then I just open Family News.
Wow.
So, come on, Ed. We talk all the time,
Oblivious.
every day. You didn't think just to slip one message into our Facebook chat or our Twitter DMs, and you're just like, "Hey, by the way, you got Game Fact Advance, please, thanks."
I thought
Send.
you would take a look at the notes and be like, "Oh, okay, I'm doing Game Fact Advance."
Ed, how long have we been doing this show together? You know I don't even write show notes half the time.
Oh.
That's why we brought in help, so show notes would get written and we would have a show that was presentable to people.
Well, Corey, I love you.
Not enough to tell me I had Game Fact Advance, apparently.
But you did have the Family News.
I did. I got a lot of good news, mostly from our news and notes chat. But
Well, I guess everybody, it's time for Family News. Yes, Corey, take it away.
all right, well, guys, I'm writing timestamping like a pro here. We have actually like a late breaking news / rumor. It's pretty good. I gotta tell you, is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 coming soon? A recent comment from a voice actress seems to think so. I have two links here. The one that's in the show notes is from Fanbyte, mostly because I wanted to switch it around, but the article from Nintendo Life is so much better, so I'm going to read that one. I love Nintendo Life. I would use their articles every day on this show, every week, but we gotta show love to other places, right? But Liam Doolin, I feel like he's like our best friend now because we read his articles all the time. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 rumors intensify. The game is nearing its final stages of development. Monolith Soft has been expecting to expand on the Xenoblade Chronicles universe for some time now with a third major release, and yesterday it was discovered Malia's voice actor Jenna Coleman may have confirmed a new entry during an interview dating back to June. If her comments were convincing enough, Fanbyte news editor, former Game Informer senior editor, and occasional industry insider Imran Khan has now chimed in with his own information, confirming the game is in development. Quote, Coleman's quote has caused rumors to stir over the weekend for a new Xenoblade Chronicles currently in development. According to our sources here, we can indeed confirm that this is the case. Moreover, the game is nearly in its final stages of development, but its release date may be held back for any number of reasons. Khan further explains that the third Xenoblade Chronicles game will be a direct sequel to the second title and shares some details about the story. The ending of the trilogy takes place in the far-flung future, with a few returning characters who have long outlived their human counterparts from both Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This is why Coleman, who plays Malia, would be aware of the third game, as her character is returning and she more than likely has recorded voice acting for it. The game is aiming for more character models on screen at once than any previous title, accounting for both playable characters and enemies. If you guys remember, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, we talked about this. Actually, the choir that did a lot of the soundtrack for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 wrapped some recording sessions for an unannounced Japanese video game. The only other video game they've ever done was Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So, it's all coming together, guys. It's coming together.
2020, 2022.
What are your thoughts on this?
This is cool. This is really exciting. There's a lot. I saw a lot of people on Twitter being like, "Oh God, I gotta go play Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2 now."
Good luck finding a physical copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 right now. By the way.
Digital's better, anyways.
I know. I'm just saying, if you're a physical collector, good luck finding Xenoblade Chronicles 2 right now.
That's true. It's just like Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii. But this is really cool. I'm one of those people. I've never beaten Xenoblade Chronicles 1 or 2, but I do really like the characters. I do really enjoy the story, so I'll probably add that on to my list of games to play on stream. But the bigger topic, and something that we'll get into in Doc Mode, is that if they release Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in 2022 alongside 2022 next year.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
3, yes, sorry, yeah. Yes, if they release Xenoblade Chronicles 3, thank you, Ed, in 2022, there's a lot of 2s in there. It'll be Zelda, Xenoblade, Splatoon 3, Mario and Rabbids, and Xenoblade, and then maybe they could finish it off with the new Mario game.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't that come out the same year as Zelda?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's basically mirroring. It's basically mirroring. That means we get Mario Kart 9 next year, right?
Which means we also get the Switch Pro next year.
Hold on, I'm confused. You said Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at 23.
22.
22.
Okay. I thought you said Xenoblade 3.
There's no way if this game is as done as the rumors say it is, there's no way it gets delayed to 2023. It's coming out next year.
I feel like this game would release in March or April at this point. And then you would save Breath of the Wild for holiday, I feel like is what that would be. So it would be
more than likely.
It would be Pokemon in January, then probably sometime in Q1 would be Mario Rabbids, and then this, and then Splatoon 3 in the summer, and then Zelda sometime in August or September, and then hit Mario November. Yeah. There you go. There's your lineup. Done. And then Bayonetta 3 in there somewhere probably. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Jacob gets it. Yes. Jack, what about you?
It's 2017 all over again.
No, that sounds picture perfect. The only thing I would add in there is maybe add in a Metroid title. Keep going high with the excitement from Metroid Dread. Bring in Metroid Prime Trilogy. I feel like it's been talked about ad nauseum.
I feel like we've been hearing about it since the Game Awards of 2018, right? Where they are
exactly.
Basically, it's done. It's sitting on the shelf, waiting to basically be a promotional tool for Metroid Prime 4, right? I feel like that's
what I've been anticipating it as well. But unfortunately, Prime 4 has just been in development hell for the longest time. So
to be fair, I think Dread has been in more development hell.
Oh, yeah. 19 years is a bit of a big gap, that's for sure.
At least they're actively developing these games, unlike F-Zero, Kid Icarus, insert Nintendo game here, Earthbound, I guess. Although, Ed, what about you? How do you feel about this?
I'm conflicted by this. And the reason why I'm conflicted by it is that I think I feel like it is coming, but it's not coming soon. And I think 23.
You're the worst.
I think 23 will be a good time because I think they're focusing. Not only are they focusing on Breath of the Wild 2, I think they're focusing on the new IP. I think they want to give that one.
Yeah, but they have 4 teams. They have 4 teams, and we know one. They are. We know one is landscape artists for Breath of the Wild 2, and one is asset creation for Breath of the Wild 2. One team just finished Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and then one team is working on their new IP, right? I feel like that's the
Right. And so what I feel like is that I'm not saying that I'm not excited for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm
It
not
sure sounds
saying
like you're
that
saying you're not excited.
I'm not
Jacob, what do
saying
you
that.
think? I heard him say I
Oh
am
no.
not excited.
I said I'm conflicted because I don't think it's coming out in 22. It would for Nintendo. It wouldn't be a smart idea to do. I would rather put that. I would put that in a year where you don't have big titles hitting, because Monolith Soft has become a more recognizable company to Nintendo and to gamers. Almost kind of like Intelligent Systems with the Fire Emblem games. They have literally become a more recognized company because of Fire Emblem, definitely with Fire Emblem Awakening. So I feel like if you really want to, I feel like a game that big, a series now that's big and important to not only Monolith Soft and Nintendo, but to gamers and RPG fans, I would want to give that game space, and I feel like 23 would be it, because you want to get Breath of the Wild 2 out. You don't want Xenoblade coming out too early when Breath of the Wild 2 is going to become, because of
Well, that's why you
if there are
separate it, right? That's
right,
why you
but
put
if
one out in
there's
the spring and one out in the fall. Like,
well,
that's what they
if
did last. That's what they did the last time.
right, and the thing, but when I was talking to Jacob, the thing with Breath of the Wild 1 is that we didn't know that Monolith Soft was helping the Zelda team do it. Second of all, that
Yeah,
game
but
was a port.
that
I'm
us
just
not knowing doesn't matter though.
I'm just saying, and I was just saying that that game was also being ported for Switch because it was only in Wii U's development. So I would rather have that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 lead 23. I mean, I'd rather get Splatoon 2, Breath of the Wild, and whatever Metroid Prime or Bayonetta, whatever they decide to show up. I would rather give more focus for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and 23 and stuff. So I'm not saying that I'm conflicted because I don't want it to come out soon. I don't want it to be announced just yet. I would rather them announce it next year and show trailers and be like the game will release on 23, because I would want their new IP to come out first and give love and attention and market it well.
I feel like
Xenoblade
you like with the success of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you would want to put out Xenoblade Chronicles 3 first and like get even more love for Monolith, and then say, hey, look, Monolith is working on a new IP. Because like as popular as we think Xenoblade is, it's a Metroid situation where like the games just didn't sell well, and Xenoblade 2 was lucky enough to have legs, right? And then they re-released Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Definitive Edition, and people were playing it, and Smash too.
Smash helped that. It helped people recognize Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And so I just think that with Xeno 3, I will push it to 23. I will announce it next year, push it to 23, and then bring that game out. Bring it after Breath of the Wild, because that's just how I feel. That's all I can say.
We're going to move on, unless anybody else has anything to say about Xenoblade 3. I am excited.
No.
I am. I'm very excited. But anyways, speaking of excitement, I think I'm the only one excited for this. Also coming from Nintendo Life, Darksiders 3 is coming to Switch, and it launches next month. After initially launching on PS4 and Xbox One back in November of 2018, the game, a sequel to Darksiders 2, will launch... Technically not true. That's okay. Will launch on Nintendo's platform on September 30th, 2021. On top of the digital edition, it's also being treated to a physical release, arriving in select retail locations on the same day. There's a big quote description of the game. You're playing as Fury, the third of the four horsemen. This will mark all four games are now on Switch. Darksiders 3 actually runs parallel to Darksiders 1, not a sequel to 2. This article is wrong. Nintendo Life, I'm disappointed in you, but also, anyways, anybody else excited for this? I like this game. I like these games a lot.
Yeah, so I have the original one on Xbox One. I ended up beating it.
It's free on Xbox One right now, by the way, the base version. If you have an Xbox Series or Xbox One, it's free right now. Games with gold.
Okay. Is it for this month?
Yes.
This month, okay. So I'm I I I'm shocked that we're getting it 3 years late. I think this game is definitely going to help boost the sales of it because I think it just came and went at the time it's released. Like people enjoyed it, but they were just like it kind of felt like they was trying too hard and stuff.
It
I
felt
think
like felt like a game that people were surprised that they made a sequel to Darksiders, like a third game.
Yeah.
And now there's 4, so
Yeah.
Genesis, not that great.
I think Switch owners are definitely going to support this. I definitely will be buying it. If the box art, and I must say this is the definitive edition to this game, because of all that DLC that's going to be on there that's included. If the cover that they use for this, with the different colors of Fury, if they use that for this box art, I definitely.
Are you on the Nintendo Life article, Ed? That is the box art, I think.
That is the box art. Okay. Yeah, that box art looks so good. I love it better than the original one. So I'll definitely be buying this on Switch. Oh, and I also feel like there's going to be a collection coming, like a bundle. It may be digital.
There's already a digital bundle on Xbox for all of them. It's called like the Apocalypse Collection or something, where you get Genesis 1, 2, and 3.
And 3, okay. I think now because of it coming out for Switch, I think Nintendo might get that one too, a digital version of it.
Have you seen the Dark Horse figures? They made all 4 horsemen.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they're like $300 a piece, but they're like really cool. They're like 17 or 20 inches tall, and they light up. They're so cool.
Nice.
Jack or Jacob, you excited for Darksiders?
I'm intrigued. I've heard that the first one is kind of like a mature Zelda, like that's how it plays. Yeah, so I've never dipped my toe in it, but I love the Zelda series and always looking for something more like that. But yeah, I haven't experimented with it, but having this come out, who knows what could help me find something when browsing the eShop late at night, looking for something.
It's always that late at night purchase.
Yeah, exactly. And you wake up the next morning and you hope you don't regret it. Why
does Jack saying that? Like he has a whole memory card full of the visual novels.
Oh, no. It's usually something that I'm like, I should have just waited for a sale. And then it's like, man, I spent twice as much than I should have.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked at where did this come from? This announcement, it came out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden it's coming out in a month. That's the most shocking part about this whole thing, I think.
Embracer's been doing that though, right? They did that with Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning, which highly recommended, by the way. If you like Fable and God of War, the original PS2 God of Wars, that game is for you. They did that with Destroy All Humans. They did that with Red Faction. So, I mean, that
Red Faction was weird.
Yeah, Red Faction on Switch is real weird. Also, the opposite weird, it got 120 frames a second patch on Xbox Series for some reason. It's Red Faction Guerrillas remastered. So,
I will say that I guess the story that THQ's Twitter account accidentally leaked it. It then took it off.
Oh, it's like their European arm leaked it or something.
Okay. Because, I didn't see no one talk about it. Like, I was shocked.
Well, I mean, Darksiders isn't exactly, like, popular. So.
Yeah, it's pretty niche.
Especially because, like, 3 came out of nowhere, and then the series has just been dead silent for so long,
Yeah.
Well, didn't they announce 3 and then like very quickly afterwards announce that the top-down one?
8.
Like
they
almost
came out
like before 3 even came out.
Yeah, there was 2. They announced 3, and then like 2 months before 3 came out, they announced Genesis, and it's 2 different studios.
Yeah.
Airship Syndicate did Genesis, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited for it. I purposefully didn't pick up Darksiders 1 and 2 and Genesis because I was like, well, I'm not ever going to be able to play 3 because I only own Nintendo consoles. So I don't want to like get super into this and then just be bummed. But so this is cool. This is cool for me. I will be waiting for them to go on sale. I'm sure they will eventually.
1 and 2 are on sale right now, actually.
I'll have to look
They're
into
like
it. Depends on how much it is.
They're like $8 a piece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, but this is cool news. This is cool news to me.
Yeah. Just to warn everybody out there, every game is a different genre, right? So the first one is pretty much a mature Zelda is strong. I would say like rated M for mature Zelda, not exactly like a mature Zelda with old school God of War combat. The second game is more like a 3D Diablo game where you're picking up loot and switching things out and getting cool powers that will basically fight for you. And, Death says, "This is no place for a horse." And then, like, the horse disappears and whatever. And then 3 is more like a Dark Souls game. It's set up that way as a slow-paced kind of, let's switch weapons and see what weapons work against this boss. And it's slow and methodical and very kind of empty world, to be honest with you, that I noticed.
Yeah.
But it's empty because the enemies are harder, and I think they want you to like feel that. So and then like Jacob said, the Genesis is a top-down twin stick shooter type game. So we're gonna move on here. Nintendo has made a lot of money on the Switch, right? Made a lot of money. So they're using a small chunk of that change to buy back shares from their shareholders. This comes from Thomas Whitehead from Nintendo Life. Nintendo to spend up to $900 million to buy back its own shares. Quote, "We have a strong cash position thanks to Nintendo Switch business. The Nintendo Switch generation has been transformative for Nintendo's business and finances, consolidating development onto one main platform, delivering impressive sales, and significantly boosting the company's bank balance. It certainly brings the boom years of the DS and Wii to mind in terms of Nintendo's financial health, and the company has announced a move that gives a good indication on how cash-rich it has become. Nintendo has issued a, quote, notification of acquisition of treasury shares and cancellation of treasury shares. Basically means the company will buy back some of its own shares and then cancel them, taking them out of the company's batch of stock. The less shares and shareholders the company has, the less it is obligated to pay out dividends ultimately." There's a big press release here kind of saying what they're planning on doing. So I think this is good, right? I think Nintendo being able to make their own financial decisions without relying on shareholders. I think we see a lot of games especially on the other platforms, kind of make decisions to make shareholders happy and not exactly give their devs full creativity, right? Even though like there's some pretty good things out there going on, right? Especially third-party developers. I feel this happens more too. So what do you guys think? You think this is going to help Nintendo be more creative? Because I mean, not that they haven't been creative already this gen, but
Well, I think it's smart of them because, when they have their shareholder meetings, they have less people to talk to about the business plan and stuff. They won't have to have pressure or be worried about why they're not getting their money and explaining if something that's not successful or anything. And plus, this is a company who got 10 billion yen in their account in case if they go under, and I don't think that's happening anytime soon. So I think it's good. I think the more control that they have of their products and what they say and what games they could bring out and stuff, I think the less they have to worry about those shareholders or CEOs trying to make decisions who don't know nothing about games.
Jacob, what do you think?
I think it's an exciting future. I have no idea what this means as far as like what the company does game creativity wise or just creativity wise in general. They're putting a lot of their time into other markets such as the amusement park and movies and things like that. I feel like it could go either way. I feel like I haven't looked enough into it to know like what shareholders are kind of demanding out of them, and I feel like it could go either more creative and fun and like what people always remember as far as the nostalgia for Nintendo is, or it could go the exact opposite and like we could find out that they have had like these crazy bad ideas and shareholders have been like keeping them on track and then we're all like, oh no, what's going on? But it's there's change coming, and I think that's cool. I think that it can be exciting. But I really don't know enough about this. I'm interested to see what there's a lot of people on Twitter like Nintendo Economics and Stealth who does market research and a lot of people like those. I'm interested to see what their thoughts on this are and how they think it could pan out.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see. I mean, it's like I never really thought of Nintendo as like someone who has, I mean, of course they're a publicly traded company, but I just never felt Nintendo of all the video game companies kind of feels like they aren't the publicly traded company. You know what I mean? And it just kind of, it always feels like they're marching to the beat of their own drum. So, Jack, how do you feel about all this?
Yeah, I could echo that statement as well. They seem to never really answer to anybody, but if they're going to have less influence to continue their freedom, that's great. And $900 million, that's a hefty chunk of change to be buying back shares. But yeah, it's just showing the great success that they've been having this generation, and hopefully they can continue to reach out with their great brands like the amusement parks and the movie that's supposed to be coming out next year for Mario, and they say they actually see that it's doing good for their brand and continue to dip their toe in other markets that they have kind of shied away from in the past.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, speaking of spending money, Focus Home Interactive has purchased the retro games leader Dotemu, who is developing the upcoming Ninja Turtles game. They did Streets of Rage 4. Focus Home Interactive seems to be taking a very odd approach to purchasing studios or making deals with studios, right? Like, I feel like we're seeing a lot of consolidation in the industry right now. With obviously Microsoft's bought and purchased a lot of studios. Sony's making second-party deals with a lot of studios. They just purchased Housemarque and Nixxes to develop PC-style games. And then the big rumor, which was also kind of leaked by them, is that they're going to buy Bluepoint very soon. Focus Home Interactive is becoming a bigger player in that as well, where they recently made a deal with Remedy to publish the Control sequels and stuff. They already own Spiders, which, for those who don't know, made that pirate. What was that pirate game called that they made? It's very popular, and I have no idea what.
Sea of Thieves?
No, not Sea of Thieves.
No, that's Microsoft.
Shoot, what is the game called? Anyways, they just purchased Dotemu, which I think is a pretty smart purchase for them. Their games are usually high quality. Adam, I'm going to go your way first, since you're the big kind of retro guy here. How do you feel about Dotemu kind of getting a bigger budget for a larger retro style game?
For me, okay. First of all, I'm shocked because Dotemu, they're so good, and I felt like they was making a lot of money from a lot of good sales and stuff. So I'm kind of baffled why Focus has purchased them, but maybe this is going to help them be able to develop more games, like definitely from Sega's catalog that's not being touched. You know, it seems that when Dotemu touches a Sega game and brings it out, it does wonders. To see how this Ninja Turtles is going to look when it comes out, it's probably going to do like mad numbers. And I think that if this going to help Dotemu be able to make more games and get them out in a properly fashion and actually put out physical versions of these games instead of waiting for like limited runs to get a hold of them, this is a good thing. I was just shocked by the news. I would never expect Focus to buy Dotemu and Dotemu to like literally make a business deal of being brought with Focus. So I can't wait to see what they deliver in the future. And maybe we'll see more of this stuff in Nintendo Directs. Maybe we'll see a lot of Focus games and Dotemu games in a Nintendo Direct. So I'm excited.
The game, by the way, Greedfall was the pirate game that I couldn't think of the name. Jack, how do you feel about this? Do you think it's good that Dotemu seems to have some financial stability to create more retro style games, or are you opposed to the consolidation of the game industry?
It always makes me a little bit nervous when bigger companies acquire smaller. I think it takes away some of that freedom and that creativity of a company that does more with less. Especially when they have more people to answer to. But their previous track record, I think everybody here is excited for the upcoming Ninja Turtle game. And if they could actually have a bigger budget, maybe it could lead to bigger and exciting things. But overall, my concern is that, then we're going to have a ton of similar games that are based upon, if this Ninja Turtle game does well, which I expect it will, we don't need another 4 sequels exactly like that, in a short time frame. Part of why this is exciting is because we haven't had something like this since basically Turtles in Time came out, and that was the early to mid 90s. So if we're just going to have all this type of game shoved down our throats, I think it takes away what makes the game like that special.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, although like I see what Microsoft is doing with smaller teams and kind of letting them have creative control. So, Jacob, what are your thoughts on this?
I really don't have any thoughts on this. The only game by them or from them that I'm even excited for is Turtles in Time, and I haven't played any of the other games that they've put out. So it just doesn't. This news story isn't anything that appeals to me.
Shredder's Revenge.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm excited because Turtles is awesome. Sorry, my kid is screaming in the background, so I'm going to read this next story real quick and have you guys talk about it. So, the next story is coming from our very own Dan Murphy on BossRush.net. Nintendo has officially outsold the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. They've sold, as of today, 89.04 million units, and they hope to pass the Wii by the end of the fiscal year, which is 101.63 million units. That's a lot of units.
That's insane.
I know. It's insane.
It's absurd.
Yes. So I think definitely with the Switch OLED coming out, they're going to hit that. Definitely with Christmas coming, Hanukkah coming for some people. I think the OLED, once people actually see it and get it in their hands, and other people's Switches start kind of fading out, I think people are going to go and get the OLED and push that number to that 101 for Wii. Go ahead.
Well, I just had to look this up because I couldn't remember. But the Wii had like a 10-year lifespan.
Yeah,
and the Switch is on year 4 now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's
the most impressive thing about this.
And even more so than that, like all of those systems, the Wii, the Xbox 360, the PS3, those were like, as far as I'm concerned, as like a consumer. And it might be because at that time I was working at GameStop. Those were like, that was the most I'd ever seen anyone purchase gaming stuff before. That was like the peak of gaming in my mind. And for the Switch to be doing better than that in such a short amount of time, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Jay.
I was just going to say, that's that time period. It felt like everybody I knew. I was in college then, so me and all my friends, we were still working in college. We actually had some money to spend, and we actually had, seeing everybody's game libraries grow during that time, and then also with the Wii. Everybody played the Wii. Everybody had a Wii. I remember my buddy's girlfriends getting Wiis, and it's like, this is just weird. It was people that you didn't see having them. And the fact that the Switch in under 5 years is going to break that is ridiculous, considering I think the PS3 came out in 2006, and then the PS4 came out in 2013, I believe. So a 7-year life cycle before the next generation started. That's insane. And I know that a lot of it is because people are double dipping. A number of people have the regular Switch, and then they have the Switch Lite, and then, as you mentioned, Ed, with the OLED coming out, people are going to dip their toe in it again. I have kids, so I'm thinking about getting a Switch Lite for my son. So it's going to be multiple units in the same house. So it definitely is something to compare and has been discussed, but it's still impressive to think that this many households actually that it's going to surpass the Wii. I didn't think that Nintendo was going to have another system to even come close with the Wii, with how well that did.
Well, it's because of the Switch. I think for Nintendo, definitely in this modern age, it's the only console around this time that has probably have multiple one-on-one connections. When you buy the Switch, you're buying Mario Kart, or you're buying, definitely last year, how people were buying Switches and applying Animal Crossing to there to get to the number that it was. And then you just add, it was just adding on. Yes, when Switch came out, it was Breath of the Wild. But then people started adding Skyrim. People started adding ARMS. People started adding Mario Odyssey. And it was just like hit after hit, game after game. Whenever you was able to get a chance for a Switch game, your library is probably already going to start out at least with 5 games. And we're not even connecting that to the eShop stuff that was dropping around that time. So, and it's been that kind of year after year that there is some kind of game attached to the system that's going to make you buy it. Like even with Fire Emblem, probably Monster Hunter probably did something this year, and people are, look at just the pre-orders for Metroid Dread and Switch OLED. People were able to easily get an OLED one, maybe not the ones that some people wanted, but everybody's just like, when I'm getting this OLED Switch, I'm getting Metroid. And like, you haven't heard anyone or see any kind of console do that for a long time now. I'm not discounting Xbox, because people, I think Series X, because when it comes more available, Halo Infinite is going to be that game. For some people, when PlayStation 5 came out, it was Spider-Man or it was Demon Souls, that did that. But Switch, year after year, there was always a game connected to that system when it was brought. And then you literally started on, like, you might start off with one game, but then you look on the eShop, that one game probably got into like 5 games because you bought 4 on the eShop and more. So I think it's going to hit, like I said, I think it's going to hit that one-on-one or surpass it by the end of the year. I kind of feel like it's a possibility they do it by the time Black Friday comes around.
So I wanted to bring up another thing, in that the PS4 came out in 2013, I believe, if I'm reading this correctly. Yes. Mm-hmm. And the estimated lifespan of the PS4 from Sony is 2024. So we have about 3 years left on that. The Switch is only 30 million units behind the PS4, which has already had a 10 year life. No, I can't do the math. 7 year lifespan. No, would it be 8, right?
8.
Yep, yes.
You're right.
So
yeah.
8-year lifespan. We're on half of that, and the Switch is sold almost the same amount. Very, very close when you're talking that massive amount of numbers. And like the PS4, as much of a Nintendo fanboy as I am, I'm happy to admit when other companies are doing well. PS4 is killing it. absolutely killing it. But then the fact that this is happening, and that they have this new console, even though it's not really like a huge upgrade, there's a lot of people are double dipping on this OLED Switch, and they're going to announce a Pro, or maybe they're going to keep the Switch lifespan going like they did with the 3DS. And so this is it boggles my mind how good Nintendo is at console sales when it comes to including their software.
You know what's weird? And like, Ed, you and I have done this a couple times now with this show. Nintendo's average lifespan for a console is 4.8 years. 4.8. NES, SNES, 64, all 5-year life cycles. The GameCube was a 4-year life cycle. The Wii, about 6.5 years. The Wii U, about 5 years. The Switch is entering its 5th year, and not only are we not hearing about its successor, we are not even speculating about what its successor could be, because I don't think anybody wants anything else from Nintendo other than what they're doing right now. And I think that's why we're going to get iteration upon iteration upon iteration of the Switch. And like, okay, it's going to turn into almost like an iPad situation where it's like, okay, well, we're just going to keep iterating and iterating and iterating. It'll be more powerful. And I think that's the direction we're going, right?
And I think people... Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, and they're probably waiting for, if they do design like a new, not under the Switch banner, but let's just say a new generation of their console. I think they're waiting for certain chips to go lower in price.
I think 2023 we're going to see a new, like a Super Switch. I think 2023 is a good... because Nintendo usually iterates on their consoles about every 2 or 2.5 years, right? You look at the Game Boy, starting with, obviously starting with the Game Boy Pocket. 2 years later, we got the Game Boy Color. 2 years later, we got the Game Boy Advance. 1.5 years later, we got the Game Boy Advance SP, so on and so forth. You saw 5 iterations of the DS, 3DS, so on. I think the Switch is going to be on that path, right? You saw the Switch. You saw the Switch Lite 2 years apart. Now you see the OLED Switch, which is about 2 years after the Switch Lite, right? Not total iterations.
Basically the 3DS XL.
Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, so next on the docket is like the Switch's version of the new 3DS.
Yep.
I wonder if they got two kind of research and development teams. That one is focused on Switches, like updating it and coming up with new versions. And then I wonder if there's like another team playing around with ideas of what do they want to create for the future of Nintendo.
I think that's one and the same, right? Where like, hey, is what we're doing working? How can we improve it? And then once they're at the drawing board, they're like, okay, here's what will work after this, right? But we're not going to focus on that right now. We're going to focus on updating the Switch, fixing the Joy-Cons, hopefully. Making a console that I feel like will compete and get third-party partners on board, right? Because we know there have been notes and leaks. Nintendo has told developers to get future games 4K ready for the Switch. Those messages are out there, right? And yeah, maybe the OLED Switch was supposed to have some sort of thing, and with the chip shortage and whatever, they just kind of backed out and said, okay, we have this chipset, we have these nice screens from Samsung, why don't we just shove that screen on there, make it real nice. This will be like a halfway iteration, and then we'll do the 4K Switch in a couple years when, the pandemic dies down, pandemic's over, chips are cheap again. You know what I mean? I just think I think the Switch is just, they've been trying to do this since the freaking Super Game Boy on Super Nintendo, trying to merge their handheld and home consoles together. And we saw this what were you going to say, Jacob?
I was going to say, as part of that, because it's always in the past, it's been, the GameCube's not doing well, but good thing we got that Game Boy Advance that's selling like gangbusters. Oh man, the DS, it's kind of dying down. Oh, but the Wii, hey, the Wii's blowing it out of the park. And now they finally combined that. So you're absolutely right that this has been their goal. And I wanted to add on to what Ed said in that they probably do have a department that's dedicated to a research and development team that's dedicated to what's next, what's after the Switch. But the thing is, Nintendo historically doesn't like to move on until it's something new. It's innovative.
Yeah.
For them personally, I don't think you get like you have to enter like the virtual or augmented reality gaming space for them to innovate any further on what is the console handheld.
Well, hold on,
gaming
Jacob.
experience.
They already made a headset. It's called Nintendo
Virtual
Labo.
Boy. Oh yeah, okay.
Well, yeah,
And
the
Mario
Virtual Boy
Kart
too.
Live.
Yeah.
You know,
See, but like that, imagine a system that you could play Mario and point it at your desk and run him across your desk, you jumping off of like, it reads like your monitor and your keyboard, and those become objects in the game. Like that, I could see that being a thing, or going the virtual route. And I don't think they're going to shy away from the Switch until they've secured that process.
Yeah. Anyways, it's impressive either way. I did want to hit on the PlayStation 4 sales on how it could. I heard a cool thing or an interesting thing the other day and it actually makes sense, where the PlayStation 4 might actually have a longer tail due to countries with high tariffs. It's finally going to be cheap enough for them to buy, right? Because like South America, Central America have high trade tariffs, and the Sega Genesis and the PlayStation 2 were popular there for years after, right? They were selling Sega Genesis while Dreamcast was out in Brazil, and there's this whole crazy Sega culture down there, and it's just I think the PlayStation 4 will have legs like the PS2 based on that alone, right? And but I also think that we've actually seen a drastic dip in PlayStation 4 sales since the PlayStation 5 has been released, which hasn't really happened for them before. Because usually when the new console comes out, the old console gets really cheap. People buy that because there's a whole library of games to buy, yada yada, blah blah. PlayStation 4, there's just like a dip. You look at this chart that Sony actually released to say how great the PlayStation 5 is selling, and the PlayStation 4 is on there, and there's just like a straight dip down. There's no like, cool little zigzags or whatever to show growth or anything. So,
Corey, you mentioned South America, you mentioned Brazil, and I was just going to say that's how we got Blazing Chrome on Switch. Like the developers are in Brazil. That's why it looks like a Sega Genesis game.
Yeah, because they developed it for Sega Genesis because that's all they had down there, which is cool.
And that game did wonders for them because a lot of people really love that game.
Yeah,
on Switch.
All right, we're gonna get to our last story here. Sorry that was a little bit long, but that was a good conversation. It's always a cool conversation to talk about how good Nintendo is doing, because Ed and I talk about all the time. We started this show when the Wii U was on the decline, right? Like it was just a rare copy of Super Mario Brothers sells for $2 million as retro bidding explosion continues. This is crazy. This is so crazy. I'm gonna look. As much as I love my Nintendo 64 collection, I could buy a house with those games down there. I'm just saying. I'm gonna. I have that really awesome Mario 64 port on my Switch now, so I don't need anything else. So this comes from Wesley LeBlanc from IGN. A factory sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. Has sold for a record-breaking $2 million, making it the most valuable video game collectible for now. Collectibles website Rally announced the sale on Twitter today. As reported by Polygon, the $2 million is now the highest price paid for a video game in the history of video games. However, this sale wasn't a typical video game auction sale. There's your asterisk. The anonymous buyer essentially bought the game from shareholders. So that's an asterisk for you. That's because Rally is different from traditional auction sites. Rally sells shares of collectibles to investors, and then when those collectibles are sold by buyers, the shareholders receive a return on their investment. So in this case, the buyer purchased a factory sealed limited run print of the original Super Mario Brothers for $2 million only after the collectibles shareholders approved such a sale. The New York Times reports that this $2 million sale saw shareholders receive a return of investment on their shares for roughly 900%. This retro gaming stuff is just out of control. First, like that first Mario Brothers sale, and then Mario 64, and now this.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of control. Jack, what are your thoughts on these crazy retro auctions?
I'm mad at how everybody in the world seems to have millions of dollars lying around to buy a game that you can buy for, $5 on an eShop. But it also just gets me thinking, okay, you mentioned your N64 collection. I got my GameCube's collection over there. I've dipped in and sold some stuff. I had a GameCube component cable.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
you probably bought it. You probably bought it for what, like $20 somewhere, and then like
$20.
What, 10 years later you sell it for $200?
I just sold it like 2 months ago for $335.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was a no-brainer. Like I can even hook it up to the TV. Everything's all HDMI. So it was like, all right, this is just giving me the opportunity to reevaluate my collection and go, what am I actually going to play? Because for a certain amount of money, I could better put it to good use. I mean, they just have good memories and they look good on the shelf. But I just got to hold off until I can find my treasure collection that I could retire on. But I don't think I have anything like that $2 million worth. It's absurd. It just makes me shake my head left and right.
I've been thinking about getting rid of my original set of Pokemon cards, and they're all still in sleeves. They're in pretty perfect condition. They're all first editions. I've been really contemplating getting them graded and getting rid of them because I have no affection for these cards at all, and they're just all sitting in my basement in perfect condition.
What's holding you back? Effort?
Trying to figure out how to get them graded and where to send them and the best way to do it. The waiting list on getting trading cards graded right now is like 6 months to a year.
Yeah. Insane.
God.
So that time frame is actually what's holding me back from doing it.
Gotcha.
Although, I mean, 6 months ago probably would have been the time to do it because Pokemon cards are crazy right now.
Yeah.
But, I don't have that first edition Charizard though. That's the only one I don't have. It's literally the only card I don't have.
Yeah, but there's so many of those floating around that you find somebody who's got that card and they have none of the other ones, and you just sell it to here, complete your collection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was looking up graded Pokemon cards the other day. I have a first edition foil Blastoise. That's if it's graded past the 9 is worth like $30,000. I'm like, jeez, I could put a down payment on a house if I could get that.
Yeah.
Shoot, you might buy the house with your cards.
$30,000 for a house, Ed. What kind of house are you living in?
I'm talking about all your cards together.
Oh, yeah,
Shoot.
all these cards. Yeah, I could buy the whole city. God, it'd be awesome. No, so I've been thinking about that. I also have a lot of N64 games. I have like almost 40 N64 games, and all of them are complete in box except for about 6 of them. So I've been really contemplating that as well, especially because like I have the gold cartridge Zelda games complete in box. And I'm like, I have them on my 3DS. I have it on my Wii U. I'm gonna have them on Switch eventually, hopefully someday. Do I need these? Because like my biggest fear is that like my kids are gonna get into them and just shred these boxes at some point, and I'm just like, I got to do it before this happens, and like I have enough amiibo and statues and whatever to hold on to those memories. Like, what do I need a cardboard box for? So, anyways, I don't have a sealed copy of Super Mario Brothers though.
Yeah.
I just say that this is ridiculous. Just like, where's the not the Nintendo? I'm sorry. Where's the Microsoft and Sony stuff at? Like, where's the rare copies of games that are?
I mean,
still
Gravity
wrapped
Rush
up?
for
Like,
PlayStation 4 is pretty expensive.
like where's
It
Final
goes-
Fantasy? Where's Final Fantasy Tactics at in this original form?
It goes back to a little bit of what Corey was saying, is that these old games, these NES, SNES, not GameCube, N64 games, they were in cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
Those things, even if you had one, if you didn't keep it in a box, in a case, like a plastic case somewhere contained, and you put that thing in your attic, it's gonna mildew and melt and be terrible. So they're incredibly hard to find with all of that stuff. And these older games, like on PlayStation, they have plastic cases. You can replace that. You can buy the same case that the original PlayStation games came in, throw the sleeve and the cover art in there, and it looks the exact same. And it costs you like 98 cents.
It kind of feels like that these Nintendo games are like time capsule games. You know, like you threw them in a time capsule. 10 years had passed. You brought it out, and the value just jumped up in a sense.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what it is.
You know, and is it just that you're paying it because yes, it is in its original form, but you're paying just to collect it, to have it? It can't be me. I'd be like, you know, when I get a game, I want to take it out and I want to play it. But I don't think like.
Ed, how many unopened games do you have right now?
Too many.
Looks away.
Okay. For reference, a 6.5 graded Final Fantasy Tactics sealed in-box black label sold on eBay for $565.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I actually thought that Panzer Dragoon for Sega Saturn would be the most expensive game.
I mean, it all depends, right? Like it just depends at this point, and nostalgia plays a big role in it. I'm not sure too many people hear stories about Panzer Dragoon, but people aren't nostalgic for Panzer Dragoon. People are nostalgic for Mario Brothers. People are nostalgic for Zelda, right? And those games are going to be the, you know, everybody can be like, oh, stadium events, that game's rare, but I don't know. But
it's weird that you go like people are selling something like that for like $10,000 compared to what we hear now that people are paying the millions for it. It's just like, wow, that is a big jump to buy a game.
What can I say? Pandemic isolation has made people crazy, and apparently found pirate treasure under their foundation of their house.
Also, I at this point I just have to think that this is like some sort of e-peen contest between all these rich people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you bought Mario for $1.5 million. I bought it for $2 million. Like, or whatever it was. I don't know. But this is so stupid. It just makes me mad at this point that people are spending their money like this.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for Family News. Ed, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, everybody, we're going to get into our doc mode. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 will not only become Nintendo's biggest anticipated game for 2022, but it could be for gaming in general. Although we have to wait till this release, there's more titles to be announced. For this doc mode, I'm asking the Elite Block agents, how do we envision 2022 to lead up to Breath of the Wild 2's release? And will Sony and Microsoft play a part with their titles? So, we're getting ready for 2022. Let's say Breath of the Wild is coming out in October. You know, from January... Okay, I'll rephrase that. From November till October 2022, how do you guys see Nintendo releasing games? And we'll focus on that. What did you like? How do you envision it? Jack, I'm gonna start with you.
Well, we know about the new Pokemon coming out in January. I think that's going to start things off. You know, with the announced games that we have, so we have that the new Mario and Rabbids. I see that following up in springtime. You know, probably March, April timeframe. Lead right into Splatoon 3 in the summertime, And then I think that with the success of Metroid Dread, we already see all of the pre-sales that Nintendo is finally going to ramp up the hype for Metroid Prime 4. So they're going to finally release the Prime Trilogy. They'll announce that during E3 or whatever is announced, whatever takes place next summer in June. And then use that momentum to carry them into the summer. We were kind of touching on Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That seems like that would be a nice placeholder for the August, September, and then leading right into Breath of the Wild sequel is the way that I could see it shaping up. And then there'll be some other surprise announcements, maybe another Kirby game that pops up and fills in something in May or something like that. One of those lower tier games that just generate sales that it doesn't seem like it that they're really the big blockbuster games or anything like that. But that's how I could see the year shaping up for them.
Okay, Corey, what do you envision leading up to Breath of the Wild 2?
I actually think Breath of the Wild is going to get pushed out of next year. I don't want it to, but I think it's going to. And I actually think they're actually going to release Xenoblade Chronicles 3 first, just so they have a big kind of RPG-ish game in the fall. Mm-hmm. But obviously, Pokemon's going to be huge in January, right? Because it's kind of like the first step to the Pokemon game everybody wants, right? That kind of open world. Let's go catch things and bring them back and train them or whatever. I still don't think it's going to be the game everybody wants because it seems like it revolves around one central city instead of, like a big open world. But I still think it's going to be huge, right? And obviously the remakes are going to be huge in November. But I think Pokemon's going to be huge. I think Mario plus Rabbids is going to be in the springtime. I think that Splatoon 3 is going to be huge for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Splatoon 2 sold, 12 million units? And I just think Splatoon 3 is going to be probably their biggest game next year, without a doubt. I think they're obviously going to have a few surprises up their sleeve. I think we'll get a lot of ports next year. Because Breath of the Wild is pushed. I think we're finally going to get the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD next year. I think we're going to get the Prime trilogy next year to kind of hold us over. And then 2023 will be Breath of the Wild and Metroid Prime 4. That's my thought. And then we'll get some sort of... I don't know. I still think Bayonetta 3 is coming next year as well. Although I know Platinum is very busy with Babylon's Fall and what's their other project they're working on, Ed? I forget.
Was it the one that Apple game?
Yeah, but that's out already. So I know they're working on becoming a publisher of smaller games. I know they're working on publishing their own games. I don't know. There's been a rumor that we're getting a sequel to Vanquish at some point. So I think they're going to want to get... I just feel like Bayonetta 3 is like this, at this point, anchor holding them back from what they want to be as a company. That I think they just want to hurry up and get it out. Not that it's going to be bad or feel rushed or anything. I feel like that's the last brick that's holding them down. And if once they become free of that, they can become the company that they really envision themselves being. So I think we're going to get that next year. Probably like July, August. You don't want to put it in the fall because as much as we like Bayonetta, that game would get eaten alive in the fall. And I think spring is too early for that, especially with the Horizon getting delayed and people are going to be focused on these other Nintendo games. So that's my thought. And I think Xenoblade and maybe a Mario game next year are going to be the big titles. And then Zelda will be the spring game in 2023. and Metroid Prime 4 will be probably like a September game in 2023.
Was Bayonetta 2 October for Wii U when the original came out?
I think it was September.
September.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about you, Jacob? What did you envision?
I don't think it's going to be releasing in October. I think it's going to be releasing in early spring.
Just for the discussion.
Okay.
It's in October.
Well, so then I don't know. We know Pokemon's coming out. We know Metroid Prime 4 is somewhere in there. We know Splatoon 3 is there. We know about we know possibly Xenoblade Chronicles 3. We know Bayonetta 3. Did No More Heroes 3 come out? Has it been pushed back yet? I don't even know what's going on.
It's coming out at the end of this month.
Okay, yeah. Supposedly. Okay. But I don't think they push it back at all. I don't think they push. I think if they do push back Breath of the Wild, I think that would be the sign of it being pushed back to be put on Switch and Switch Pro, like upgraded for Switch Pro type of thing. Mario plus Rabbids probably an early spring game. Splatoon 3 probably a summer game. And then just stuff that we don't know about yet announced in there.
Okay. Well, I know with Metroid Dread, like Jack said, we got that October. We got the Pokemon remakes of Diamond and Pearl in November. We got Advanced Warfare in December. January, Pokemon Azure, I think that's the name. Arceus. Goodness, Azure. Arceus. And then
we know what games that's been playing in his free time.
we got Mario and Rabbids. We got Splatoon. Party Bayonetta. There's a possibility we could get Astral Chain 2. There's a possibility we could get Fire Emblem, a Fire Emblem game. Maybe Fire Emblem Warriors 2.
Well, we already know that Astral Chain. The first game was developed with a trilogy in mind, right? Like that's what Platinum said. But we also know that Nintendo owns the IP, and that Platinum kind of wants out from this publisher deal from Nintendo, right? Like I feel like whatever Astral Chain 2 is, I think
they might go the Darksiders route where they make it a different gameplay style each time.
I mean, they could do that, but I'm also thinking maybe Astral Chain 2 won't even be Platinum. I think it could be like Tecmo Koei or something. And you know what I mean? Like, there's so many games that, Koei Tecmo. Is it Tecmo Koei or Koei Tecmo? I don't even know.
Koei Tecmo.
Yeah.
Koei Tecmo.
Like, they did Fire Emblem 3 Houses, right? Like, that was, everybody thinks Intelligent Systems when they think of Fire Emblem. Intelligent Systems only developed oversaw the game and worked on about 10% of the game, right? They were making Paper Mario, which is crazy to me to think that. But I mean, I could totally see Koei Tecmo stepping in to make a second Astral Chain game because of Nintendo's ownership, right? So,
which is weird that Platinum would want to get away from Nintendo.
It's not weird. They want to publish their own games.
Yeah, they want to be their own. They want to be their own thing.
Well,
Ed, it's not weird that somebody doesn't want to work with Nintendo. Whatever you say.
No, because the thing about it is that they say that, and then they connect with Square to do Nier Automata and Nier Replicant. You know, so it's just like, it's weird to say that they just kind of want to move away from Nintendo to publish their own games, but then they do something with Square Enix.
These are already pre-existing contractual agreements, though. It's not like they made these. Right. I mean, Nier took 5 years to develop. Like they made that contractual agreement probably 6 or 7 years ago, right? Like
right, and
they've got contracts to let out. They've got jobs to do, and then they'll start working on their own thing.
It's the same reason why Microsoft is letting Deathloop and Tokyo or Ghostwire Tokyo come out on PlayStation, right? They're upholding the contracts, right?
Which is probably with Nintendo that they got. If we're going to do the contract thing, they're probably going to do with contracts with 2. They may have 2 and 3 with Platinum, and that might be a contractual thing. But like just for 22, you know, it's a possibility that we might see that. We might see Arms 2 being announced. We
It's a
might
possibility that we'll see anything being announced.
Yes.
I mean, yes. We'll probably maybe like some of their Nintendo games that were in Japan that never came out here. Maybe they will get remade, like the Famicom Detective Club, how that got redone and got released. We may see something like that again, or a certain game like that. We might see Captain Rainbow.
I mean, there's five other detective games, right? The Famicom detective games. There was 5 total, right?
But
there was 2. There was only been 2.
No, I'm saying
that series is a good point though. That series is a good point though, because nobody expected that. Nobody asked for that. There was no hints that these are coming. Be looking out for them. They just dropped. They just were announced, and then a few months later or a few weeks later they were dropped. And that's what it was. And we have no idea what's going on with any of these companies until we hear rumors like with the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 thing. And so that's the only thing that we have to go off of. So, like, as far as like the only thing that we could make assumptions towards is what we actually know, what we've actually been told, and what we've heard, and anything could be announced in between now and then.
Well, there's a possibility. I feel like Mario Kart 9 is dropping next year.
I don't think so. Mario Kart 8 is still the top-selling Switch game. It's not coming. They don't need it. They're going to focus their resources on other things.
But I need it.
I know we all need it. Look, I've been playing Mario Kart 8 since 2012, 13.
Yeah.
I as much as I love that game, I'm so tired of those tracks.
Exactly.
I could play those tracks.
Have 9. Have the DLC come. You know.
I think Mario. Speaking side tangent, Mario Kart is the perfect game as a service for Nintendo. You give us Mario Kart, you give us a handful of tracks, you give us that Fortnite Battle Pass for costumes and events and whatever else, right? Nintendo's not smart enough to do that. Or maybe they're way smarter. They did it on phones.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I just feel like we'll see that. I feel like we'll see that for a Nintendo Direct, like the last Nintendo Direct. It'll be like 2022 Mario Kart 9. Just saying, and that's a possibility. I just feel like all of these good titles and stuff leading up to Breath of the Wild, that would literally make 22 like a bunkers year of games.
But that's true for anything. That's true for anything, though.
Well, but a lot of people kind of felt like 2019, mad crazy game. September, that was a insane amount of games. Dragon Quest, Link's Awakening. After you just came out from Astral Chain and Fire Emblem from July and August,
and Mario Kart and Marvel Ultimate Alliance and June,
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Like the stuff that you didn't expect. Corey, remember when? Before I let you speak, Jacob. Corey, remember when they announced Switch and people was asking the system is gonna have no games, and then just look at all the stuff that's been rolling out year after year.
I know, but that first year was all Nintendo. You have to admit that first year, except for like games like Bomberman and Shovel Knight, the Shovel Knight port, and what was the May game that year? The Street Fighter, I think, from Capcom, that $40 Street Fighter 2 port.
Yeah.
Like, Nintendo carried the Switch, right? With the exception of Mario Rabbids with Ubisoft, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, Nintendo carried that first year, and then they saw how well the Switch was doing, right? Because I fully think that Nintendo was planning on supporting the 3DS for another year. At least, just in case the Switch didn't work. And, well, I mean, besides that besides that January reveal of the console, which was it wasn't great, right? We did a watch along for that, and it was like the reveal wasn't great, but the console ended up being exactly what everybody wanted, ironically, and obviously the rest writes itself. But
yeah, I think when we was watching that Direct with Doom being announced, from Bethesda on
I
Switch,
mean,
and
all
it
the
was just
Bethesda
like,
games. It was Wolfenstein 2. It was
Yeah.
Doom. It was Elder Scrolls. Right? Bethesda really brought stuff to Switch, and that excited people.
yeah, and I think it was just like the success that indies were having, the success that some third parties were having, hitting 1 million or getting 700,000 copies in 2 weeks and stuff. Like that was a big surprise with that. So to say that going into 22 just from Nintendo itself, like they probably have a lot to build up for it. You know, there's a lot of possibilities. Like I agree with you guys. Mario and Rabbids, Pokemon, Metro Prime 4, maybe Metro Trilogy. Shoot,
But-
who knows? Like even some DLC to the past existing games we may see. Oh, go ahead, Jacob.
But my point to all of this is that none of those games have anything to do with Breath of the Wild 2 releasing.
Nope.
None of them have anything to do with any of them releasing.
The only games
unless
that
they're part of the same series.
The only
Because,
game,
like,
the only
Skyward Sword.
Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was going to say the only games that have anything to do with Breath of the Wild releasing are the other Zelda ports.
Yeah.
If Breath of the Wild gets delayed.
Because there's no one out there that's like, oh, they released Breath of the Wild 2 this year, but you know what? They didn't release Advance Wars 3, so I'm not gonna buy Breath of the Wild.
No, I'm just saying no,
Like-
but that's not the thing. You envision the games that's coming out per month to lead up to Breath of the Wild. Like how do you see
But
their lineup?
That's
You know,
my
for-
point. Is like there is no lead up to Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild coming out is all the lead up Breath of the Wild needs. They could release just like in 2017. They could release the brand new Mario. They could release nothing but bangers every single month, and they would just say this is a great year. No one would think, wow, this really helped Breath of the Wild 2's release. Like,
Right. And that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say, what do you envision leading up to it? Like what games will come out that people will buy or and play and be like, man, I can't believe I got this game in my library this year. Leading up to it.
Anything.
any game
Look,
at all.
My most anticipated game right now for the rest of the year is Mario Party Superstars. Okay, so get out of here.
I said this in our Twitter chat. That's the one thing that I don't want. Like, there's nothing that I care about that I want that I like needs to come out. I don't want them to release 2 absolute units of games in the same month, because that means that month goes from being $60 to $120.
This is
that's
Nintendo.
so frustrating.
This is Nintendo. Have you not noticed?
I mean, to be fair, in October we have Fatal Frame, Mario Party, Metroid Dread,
I know.
Super Monkey
And
Ball,
OLED.
The OLED.
And the OLED. There's
OLED.
3-4 other months, but that's what they decided to do. That's what I'm getting at, is like they could have spread those out, but they didn't, and I don't want them to do that more. I just want them to release games monthly.
Well, if they do that, what do you envision? What games? That's what I'm trying to get to.
I mean, I feel like we've hit every single thing plus at this point.
Well,
Yeah, like what do I? Dark Souls, Kid Icarus. That's what I envision all the time.
That's what I want. That's what I want to hear from you. That's what I care about. It could be.
Why does it have to lead up to Breath of the Wild? Like, that's the part that I'm stuck on. Is why does it have to lead up to Breath of the Wild? That doesn't make any sense.
Because it's Ed and he made some generic rules that we have to follow on docked mode. That's why.
Well, because I'm like, now getting to the second portion of it, with Sony and Microsoft with their games, not just people who own those consoles too, who also own a Switch, they may be buying those games still leading up to Switch. Like, and how big of a part does that play in it?
Nothing. Nintendo doesn't care what they're doing.
I don't think Nintendo fans care about what Microsoft or Sony are doing.
And
Like,
Nintendo doesn't care. Name one time that Nintendo has announced a game and then like Sony or Microsoft has been like, oh, we're releasing our big game at this month too, and Nintendo was like, oh, you know what, we're changing our date.
Look, I mean, all you have to do is look at Breath of the Wild and Horizon.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, Horizon. People
and
talk about.
Seems like that's coming out the same way again. Too.
Yeah, it totally does. But like, Horizon came out on February 28th. People played it for 2 days. And look, people are still talking about Breath of the Wild, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, Horizon happened." It was not. Don't get me wrong. I loved Horizon. I think it's a great game. I think Aloy is a fantastic character. I totally almost bought the Aloy skin in Fortnite, even though I don't play Fortnite. But like people don't talk about Horizon the way that people talk about Breath of the Wild, and I think there's a huge reason for that.
35 years of history will have something to do with that, I think.
Yeah, true.
Well, Jack, I'm gonna start with you.
Start.
How does
Ed, we've been on this topic for 25 minutes. How are we just starting?
I'm trying to get to the second portion of the question. How does Sony and Microsoft play a part in this, Jack? Like, what games do you think they're released to lead up to Breath of the Wild?
Every single game that has been delayed that was originally scheduled to be out this year. The only game I really care about from the other competitors is God of War, and I doubt that that's even going to come out in 2022. Horizon looks exciting and fun. I'll definitely check that out, but
it's like a PlayStation. It's like PlayStation is making PlayStation's
Harry Potter, that'll be fun.
The Batman game looks cool too. The Arkham, what is it? No, not Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights.
Cool.
Gotham Knights, yeah.
Looks cool.
Wasn't that a multiplayer shooter game?
No, that was.
I'll keep talking. I'm gonna look this up.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't think it was called Gotham Knights. It was, I forget. I know what you're talking about though. That was weird. It was like a bunch of crazy people dressed up like Batman and people dressed up like Joker shooting each other.
Yeah, Gotham City Imposters. Sorry,
that one.
I had to figure
Oh goodness gracious!
But like for me, like just for my preferences, it's like PlayStation has made it very hard for me to like even be excited for PlayStation 5. To be 100% honest, like I like Horizon and I like God of War, but both those games are coming to PlayStation 4, right? And I get it. Like I bought a Series X so I could play old games better, right? Like I get it. I get it. I've been playing Master Chief Collection for too long, but like I just don't. I find these the other two companies like not as compelling for me as a gamer to play games, and like to me it's just like I don't really care what's coming. Like I'm excited for Halo, right? Like I think Halo looks great, but Game Pass allows me to play that game without like having to save up my $70 or whatever to play it, and I think Xbox's secret weapon is Game Pass, and I think people don't really. I think people get excited because they see new things coming to Game Pass. I don't think they're excited because Microsoft's games are going to make them buy the box, right? Like I think Halo and I guess Forza Horizon 5 are like the first two staples for the Series X, and they're like, okay, mark that date. We're going to play these games on the Series X the day they come out. Let's do it, right? And I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about the other two companies. I'm not as excited. I'm excited for Destiny, right? Like, I mean, but that doesn't really count, I don't know. Somebody shut me up.
Jacob, how does Sony and Microsoft play a part with their titles?
I'll play by your rules, Ed, because I just thought of something. Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox, which I think is now owned by Sony because they own Insomniac Games now.
Yes.
They're going to come together to bring Sunset Overdrive to the Nintendo Switch in 2022. That's how they're going to play a part. There you go.
It's
a possibility. I don't know like what it's got to do with anything else coming out, but I think that'd be pretty cool because I did play Sunset Overdrive and that game, I loved that game.
But do you so I was talking to Jesse yesterday, having a good conversation, like talking about this dark mode question, and I was just looking at E3 with Bethesda, like Redfall, Contraband, I think Starfield is next year.
Yeah.
just like of those games releases, maybe people who are getting those games be like, man, I got a great Xbox library, or I just got a great library of games, and then Breath of the Wild comes and be like, yes, I got to play some great games, and again, this most anticipated game. Like, it would be hype. Like, I think that's how Microsoft will play it from people who want it, and like with Sony, yeah, maybe if Horizon does get pushed back because there's no official say that the game got delayed. Like Gorilla and Sony haven't said anything. So, but if it does get delayed, then Horizon 2 next year, God of War, even Capcom with some of their games and stuff. Maybe Final Fantasy 16, because even I asked LaRon about it, and he brought up Final Fantasy 16. Like, yeah, that could play a part in it. And then the other Square game that they announced, and everything. Like, I think Sony could also bring their game, their first party games, and maybe some third party games that would help, be like, man, I got a bunch of great titles that I could pick up and buy before Breath of the Wild, and just be like, man, I had a great year of games. So I think that's how Sony and Microsoft can play. Maybe CD Projekt Red will finally get Cyberpunk together and it'd be worth playing, but who knows how that's gonna go. So that's my thoughts on it. Anything else before we close out the show, everybody?
I stand by my fact that I don't think either of those companies give a flying flute about what Nintendo is doing.
Ooh, good one.
They don't care about Breath of the Wild release.
Well, I know that, but it's just like the titles that they're putting out that people could buy.
Okay, Ed, I'm cutting you off.
All right, everybody.
I look forward to 2022, Ed. I look forward to 2022. It'll be good. It'll be a good year for gaming.
All right, everybody. We're about to get into playing with power. Jacob, what have you been playing with power?
I've been playing Pokemon Omega Ruby, and my girlfriend's been playing Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. We've been playing those together. I'm replaying, if you're watching the video, Ocarina of Time
Yes.
on the GameCube on stream, and I've started up playing Minecraft and then still playing a lot of Pokemon Unite as well. That game is a lot of fun, and I'm kind of addicted. So
Nice. Corey, what have you been playing with power?
I have not played a single thing this week because I'm busy. Sorry, everybody. I'm disappointing this episode.
Man, you didn't play any video games or eat anything.
Nope.
Jack, what have you been playing with power?
Skyward Sword HD, and kind of piggybacking off of that, they had the Tetris 99 theme.
Yes, I read that you got it.
Yeah, so played a lot of that. Tetris 99 is always, one of my go-to games. Pick it up and play it for just a couple quick minutes.
I like this guy. Let's keep him around.
Tetris is awesome. So, I finished the new Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Yes.
Just finished that up over the weekend as well. So I had a good weekend for gaming, Rarity. So it was good. How about you, Ed?
I have been playing The Great Ace Attorney. Been literally enjoying that. I only got one more case that I need to do because I'm on the fourth case, and then I'll be done with the game. It's really good. They kind of changed it from the old Ace Attorney games. So you would do some investigations and then go into court. With most of the game, you're literally in court getting the clues and finding out who is the victim. Who is the criminal and stuff. So they kind of changed it up with this one. It's more, it's kind of shorter for the cases and a little bit more streamlined than it was with the other ones. Because the other games were like a adventure game. This seems more different. This seems more linear in a sense. But I'm really enjoying it. They have a play on Sherlock Holmes called Sherlock Holmes. And I'm just like, oh, wow. And just mean there's some new characters and everything. Still with funny names and everything. And the writing is good. But yeah, I'm almost done with that, and then I'll get back into Skyward Sword, and Ease 9 and stuff. I need to play that, get that done. I actually need to get back to Monster Hunter Rise and Stories because I need to get my Amaterasu skin for my Palamute. I may have to call Laurent and be like, "Hop on the Switch, let's go, Ray.
There
Grab
it
Jacob and let's
is.
go."
It's a really easy quest. You just have to run around and pick up some items.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
So that's what I have been playing with Power. And everybody, that is going to be it for Nintendo Pow Block. Jack, Jacob, do you have anything?
no, I thought you skipped Corey. I forgot Corey said he didn't do anything.
Jack, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for reaching out.
I truly enjoyed you when David was going to take a break. I'm like, let me go get Jack because I wonder if he's been doing anything. I haven't had him on the show and everything. But with that, everybody, we want you to have a great week, have a great weekend, and we will see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woohoo!
The Nintendo Pow Block podcast is a production of the Boss Rush network of podcasts. Visit bossrush.net to listen to our podcast and read our articles, game reviews, and more. You can also follow us on Twitter at Boss Rush Network to stay up to date with our content. Thank you for listening.